them codes at? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let's see if I can find these codes real quick. Look, these are all the Hermetic principles. Okay, look, right? Okay, look. So you have 3. Right? What's that? 3 is the vibration. Okay. Matter of fact, look, these are your principles right here. Okay. Mentalism, the idea. Okay. Correspondence. What's your correspondence? Figuring out how to put it together. Okay. Vibration is the actual beginning of it. Okay. Everything begins from vibration. Right? Now, the polarity is the possibilities that come with it. The rhythm, right? The rhythm is the start of the loop, the process, whatever you want to call it. Okay, process. All right. All right. So that's your start of your process, right? Because that's what we do, the wave. All right. Now your cause and effect is the result of that. All right. That's going to happen. Okay. And then the gender is whether it's physical or it's what? Emotional. Okay? That's your physical versus your feelings. Right? Your product versus your feelings. Okay? So now we got to take it further, right? So why do they always leave out 8 and 9? 8 is the infinite, which is the, how can I put this? The scenario created, right? Because the physical or emotional is the product, right? That's the response to the product, right? So that in itself is going to provide your infinite loop, because that product now creates its own reality. Its own fucking loop has been created because you've changed something. So what 9 is the product of that reality. Okay. All right. So when you look at the United States codes and you run into 18, you know that's number 9. Right? And 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So that's number 3. Right? So let's see what it says about the action that gets taken after the result. That's what it's telling you. There was a completed cycle here, and this is what is being created off of it. 18 USC. Right? 9 is the complete thing. Right? 3 is the start of the new process. Right? So what is this about? Right? Officer or employee of the United States. Whosoever falsely assumes or pretends to be an officer. Right? So you started something. You were pretending to be something that you weren't. Right? Which means that's the start of an action. They're going to tell you, right? Shall be fined under this title or imprisoned. But not both. Okay? Even the codes are based off of the Hermetic principles. Right? Look. 3 is what? 3 is the vibration plus 1. What's 1? 1 is the thought, right? The idea, right? So a payment is what? Payment of obligation and interest on the public debt. This is an agreement to take care of something that's been created. 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? Beginning at both the beginning and the end. See that? Don't look at the smiley face. That's not what we're focused on here. So you have the beginning, which is the cause, right? They needed to establish business, so they agreed to make a payment, right? That's your payment. 1 is the obligation. Notice how it's 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So the new thing is the interest, right? And the other thing is the debt. These are your 3s, the interest and the debt, because these are new entities in their own, right? Now, the public is what? See? The correspondence, the ones that they have to take care of. That's your public. Beep. Right? See, the 1 was just the agreement of the obligation. This is literally all mathematics. All the codes are based like this. Look, watch. When dealing with a punishment of a living man, you're going to find that in 18. Because that's 9. That's a complete product, right? And so everything in 18 is what happens after that product is completed. Right? It's a living man that has an obligation. Notice how taking care of all the bills and everything like that is on the infinite number. Number 8. Remember, I told you that's the product. That's the creation of the loop after the product. All right, think about that for a second. Number 8 is the infinite. Okay, the infinite is what is created after the fact of the what? The contract. Right? The contract. And the contract is for who? The man, the product, the person. So you have 1, which is the idea. You have 8, which is the infinite loop that's being created for who? You, the person. On behalf of the person, everything's going to be taken care of forever, according to this contract. It's the United States that's responsible for that dealing. You are the completion. You're the person. You're the man. The man or the woman, right? You're the product. You're the citizen. So what would it be on this? Okay, right? So check this out. Mentalism. What was the idea? The United States. The business. The correspondence was the treaty. The creation is the contract that each business has. The polarity of that is the products that they sell, which is the people, right? The rhythm of that is when they do what? They re-sign everything, right? They keep it going. right? The cause and effect is that they have responsibilities to uphold their duties, right? The gender is whether they produce or not. Whose side does it produce on? Does it produce on the side of the contract, or does it produce on the side of the person? You get me? So the infinite becomes the action that comes from the contract made for the man, the person. See, the person is the product of the contract, and the person can also get control of the contract. All of the whole entire system is broken down to Hermetic Prince I pulls. You get it? And, right, because her is not female, it's feminine, which is energy, transference. Medic, because you're repairing something. Repairing, building, upholding. Growing. Right? The prince. Who's the prince? The son of the creator. Right? The I. Right? Let thine eye be single. Right? And the pull. You know, what you bring into that eye that you see through the light. Hermetic Prince Eye pull. I know, it all seems like blasey, but look, it's everywhere. Contract, infinite loop. Man, the idea of the business, and the idea of the man. Citizen of the United States. Man makes contracts that are permanent, right? You have the right to contract. Right? The contract has to be enforced. 911, that's man and your left brain, your right brain. 1-1, that's the idea. Mentalism. So, look. So, read the code. 9 is man has an idea of pretending to be another man. Whoever falsely and willfully represents himself to be a citizen of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. It's mathematics. It's all mathematics. The whole entire system is coded like this. All of it. Like, you know, when you're not dealing with man, right, you're dealing with a product of man, like money. Right? The vibration. You get me? Payment of obligation and interest on the public debt. Starts in the 3s. The banking codes is what? And look, even further proving it, right? The foundation of the money is the what? The banks, right? What's the code for the banks? 12 USC. What's 12? 3. What's 3? The money. The product. You see how they got this shit set up? Like, think about it. All 12 USC is banking, the foundation of the money. So 1 plus 2 is what? Where you get the money itself. The money itself is the payment, the obligation. You get me? You see how everything's set up this way? Just go and look at the different ways that the USC is set up and apply this to it, and you'll see that there's a pattern. Everything in 18 USC is the what? The idea and the infinite pattern that comes after it, which is what man controls. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 is the product. That's you. You're the man. You're the living. So you have the living that controls the reality, right? So this is enforcement for the living. Now look, now we're back to it again, right? So 9 is the living man. Here's the idea. And after the idea, you have what? The correspondence, right? Putting it together. So what do you have? You have man pretending to be an employee. Officer or employee of the United States. Whoever falsely assumes or pretends to be an officer, right? They're pretending because it's a new idea coming from man of a different position. Because what's 1 and 2? 3. Right? So you have the man, and then you have the new man being created. Right? Pretending to be an officer. I know it doesn't make sense, but I know that it makes sense too. You'll get it. And once you begin to look at these things through this view of it, you'll start to put together you can trace your actions. The action, the reaction, and you can put your whole cause in it. You can figure out so much shit in these codes through this. Precept upon precept, line upon line, right? You start putting the numbers together and everything adds up every single time. Right? Because money, or the obligation of money, is the product of the banks, right? So the money section starts in the 3s. Right? This has to deal with spending of the bank. The 12s. Okay? I promise you, if you start putting these codes together like this, I know it seems like a little bit complex now, right? But if you get yourself in the habit of looking at it like this, you'll find that you find a lot of answers in here that you didn't know were there. See, you also have 1, 2. Right? There's also other numbers that are in there. Right? Now look here. Let's watch. Let me show you how it still applies. Mentalism, right? The idea. The faith of the United States government is pledged to pay in legal tender principal and interest on the obligation of the government issued under this chapter. That's the idea. The correspondence is number 2, or letter B. Who's going to pay? The Secretary of the Treasury shall pay interest due or accrued on the public debt. As the Secretary considers expedient, the Secretary may pay in advance interest on the public debt up to a year, is something along the lines of what it says there. I don't remember the whole entire thing off the top of my head. But look, think about it for a minute, right? So 2 is the correspondence. All right? Putting the pieces together. This is the one that's responsible for it. You get me? All of the codes operate like this. So where do you look for your remedies? In your 9s. Your nines is where man is represented first. Anything that equals up to 9 is a contractual agreement. You understand? 3 is going to be the beginning of all of the products. Anything that equals up to 3 is going to be a bartering or a trading to get to the product. I don't really know if anybody else figured this shit out yet. I really don't. I don't know if anybody really figured this out yet. I haven't seen anybody else talk about this. I was thinking maybe if I put it out into the algorithm a couple of times that, you know, I would have gotten somebody along this path. But I haven't seen anybody else. And it sucks because I want somebody else's eyes on this. That gets what I'm saying fully to be able to break this down even further with me. I know this key is for somebody. I just don't know who it's for. It's not for me because it's like, I kind of just know it now. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like, you know, it's just something that just clicked one day, but so it's not for me. It's for me to give to somebody else, but I don't know who the somebody else is yet that's supposed to get this. You get me? The whole entire system is based off of this. You are part of the infinite, right? That's why it's 18. Right? You see? You get it? This is also your biblical shit. Right? Think about it. You're part of the infinite. You're the one with the infinite. You're the one part of the infinite. So living man, you know, 1 and 8. The 9. That's how you know it's about the living.